Hello everybody and welcome to this winter major general walkthrough. We're going to be looking at the hole overview diagrams as usual for all 9 holes of the Greenoch Point. Bear in mind these are the old versions of the Greenoch Point, so I do have those diagrams loaded in. As usual, suggested routes and elevations only. We will need to tweak once we know wind strength and directions. And you'll have to play according to what clubs you have and according to how you like playing the game as well. I will offer a few alternatives, so on some of the holes you will have a couple of different routes and options to choose from. If you are new here, thank you so much for watching the channel. Make sure you hit thumbs up on the video and that you're subscribed, and you hit the bell button so you get notified when we upload new content. Okay then, let's go with hole number 1. Par 4 then to begin with, and we are going to see a lot of eagles on this hole, and you may even see a hole-in-one on this par 4. The white arrow is the preferred option, as that is by far the best chance for an eagle. Any form of tailwind, we must take this route on the right hand side. When we do have tailwind, we need to be playing with some topspin, and I would say between 4.5, 5.5, maybe even 6 bars of topspin if we do have crosswind. Power 3 ball will be a minimum from all tees, but if there isn't too much tailwind to play with, or you have lower level clubs, then this is a hole you might want to spend a berserker, particularly in a rookie division. If you have a lower level extra mile, or you want to play with the big topper, if you don't have 4.5 bars of topspin on your driver, then a berserker may well help you out here. The idea in this situation going right is to bounce where that blue cross is. Second bounce will need to be in the rough, and then you will roll out onto the green for hopefully a very easy putt. At worst, it'll be a very short wedge. Bear in mind, if you have strong tailwind, leave that second bounce short of the end of the rough, because the wind will give you a longer second bounce than the ball guide shows. Similarly, in crosswind, you will need to offset but have that second bounce slightly nearer the fairway, because you won't get a second bounce that is elongated with tailwind push. In headwind, we're looking at the black line, and that is just bouncing over with a couple of bars of topspin, landing on that circular pad of fairway, and then that will leave you a short iron to the green, usually playing at plus 10%. The drives, either route, I would play 15% elevation, so 15% elevation on the drive on hole number 1. Hole 2 is the first for the par 3s, and this is commonly known as the NASCAR hole, just because of the way we play this. There really is only this way to play. It will look a bit weird though. And we're bouncing there around where that red cross is. You've got some very useful points on the left and also the right. You can line up with parts of the bunker, or you can line up with some of those tree shadows there. Both of those points going to give you some good references. You will be playing this with driver, and I would recommend the quarterback here for the ball guide and also for the accuracy. Plus 20% is the general adjustment here, although obviously in Master Division sometimes people do play this with an APOC and plus 5, but generally we're speaking of a plus 20 elevation. Going to need some bars of topspin here, and obviously you'll need more topspin if we do have headwind, but you will also need some right spin, and if you have wind from right to left, so against the direction of the hole, I would play with some right curl as well. But the idea is you bounce here, then the ball follows the curve of the fairway, which is obviously impossible to see from this aerial photo, but it's illustrated with the lines, takes the curve at the top of the green and falls down to the pin. Bear in mind, most likely if you miss the hole-in-one here, you will miss low rather than high, and you'll get used to some varying lines here, but at worst you will have a putt which is only 3 or 4 yards because of the slope on the green. Really good chance here. We have been dialed in the past, but as I said, it is going to be a fun one, and if you are going to miss, you will miss low, so make sure you get enough spin on the ball to get you a good line for a hole-in-one on hole number 2. The third hole is a par 5, and here we're playing 20% on the drive. I only ever play this one the route that's shown. There really isn't an alternative in my opinion. So 20% on the drive, going to need some right spin here, so definitely side spin 2 ball, maybe even a side spin 3 if we have wind going from right to left. And you will also need in that case to apply a bit of curl. And the idea here, we bounce on that small pad and roll between the bunkers there and lay up for a second shot, which will be played with the wood club. I adjust 0% on the second shot, bounce there with the appropriate spin, will range from a little bit of backspin up to 2 bars maybe of topspin in different wind directions, bouncing over the rough and then rolling down the hill just before the green and onto the green. Very difficult to get the line and the pace right on this one. If you do drop an albatross here, it will be a very nice bonus indeed. With the second shot, as you can see in the middle of that overview, be careful of the trees, because if you have wind from left to right on your second shot, you will be adjusting into the trees with your line of the shot. So you may need to be careful with your ball guide there. If you see it go red or disappear, then you are going to need to utilize a little bit of left curl to get yourself around those trees. So assuming your drive is okay, you've got a nice easy eagle here on hole number 3. Back to a par 3 then for hole number 4. The best chance is shown with the white line here, and that is a rough bump shot, having your yellow ring totally in the rough where that blue cross is marked, adjusting it 10% elevation here, and you're going to need some left spin, so definitely a side spin 2 ball here to get the right line, maybe even side spin 3 if you have one. It's a little bit trickier in tailwind to get this right, because obviously you're going to get an extra push and you don't want to be missing the rough completely, but this is a really good chance for a hole in one on this par 3. If you don't fancy that, or if the wind does not allow it, then you'll be taking the black line, which is a standard bounce over shot. But bear in mind, with the second bounce wind effect, you don't want to be short in headwind here. Make sure you clear that bunker and have a good chance for a hole in one. So sniper if you're playing the black line, but otherwise the rough bump is going to be with the quarterback for the ball guide and also the accuracy. So if you do have a quarterback here, that's going to be the first port of call on the white line on hole number 4. Hole 5 then is a par 5, and again just one route here, not really too many options at all. In order to reach the green in 2, this is the route you're going to have to take, and it's the white line here, bouncing where the blue cross is. I play the drive 0%, but in high winds, master, I've sometimes played this 10% elevation, but generally 0 is fine on the drive. And you're going to need some top spin and a little bit of right spin and roll up the fairway there. Don't go too long though, you don't want to roll into the rough. And then the second shot is going to be a rough bump, just played to the right of that bunker there before the green, minus 10% on the second shot. Ideally, I want to be playing this with the sniper, so be careful that you don't go in between clubs here. You may need to have a backup option with your long iron as well. But generally, sniper rough bump is a really good chance for an albatross. So 0% on the drive, followed by minus 10 second shot rough bump on hole number 5. Hole 6 is a par 4, and you've got 2 options that are shown here and a third option that isn't shown. But let's explain the ones that are here first. The conservative route is the black line, and that is bouncing over with some topspin going over to that second piece of fairway. 10% extra there. From that position, assuming you get a good enough distance on your drive, you got a long iron to the pin along that fairway. 0% here, but I would suggest going with long iron with plenty of backspin. So we're looking at high level backbone, but definitely also the Saturn is a really good option here. This green is very, very tricky and does have some weird undulations around the flag, so it's difficult to get a really good line without using backspin. You just got to have to go with backspin and really attack the pin fairly close on the second shot. The white line also playing 10%, and this is the more aggressive route, and if we do get tailwind, we should be going this route all day and every day. Loads of topspin, bit of overpower needed depending what club and ball you're using, and the idea is that the topspin and the tailwind will carry you over that patch of rough and heather on the right and roll up on that main body of fairway towards the green, and that will then leave you a short iron shot. With the short iron, you've got two options. You can go with a standard backspin shot, 5 bars of backspin, or if you're brave, you can go with the dunk as well. Elevations for the second shot have been ranging from 0 through to -20 recently. So you're going to have to mix and match and go with the approach that suits you best and also is best for the wind direction that we will have. What isn't shown here that a few people do is a power slice, obviously going from left to right, which is going to land you in the same area as the white arrow on the drive. That is a viable option, but obviously with any type of power hook or power slice, there is always a certain amount of risk involved. So there we go, hole number 6. Difficult to get an eagle here. If you do manage to secure one, then that is going to be a good advantage. Hole number 7 is also known as the toilet bowl hole, this old version of the par 3 here, Greenoch Point. And you've got two options. This is a slightly longer par 3, so you are going to be using a driver here. So I would favour obviously the quarterback or the rock for the ball guide and accuracy if you have them in a good level. And you've got a choice really, and it's up to you which side you go. The wind direction will help you decide also. If you've got wind from left to right, I would obviously go from the left side so you're not going against the wind. That's the blue line. And if you got wind the other way, right to left, then I'd be taking the white line. But either one, you're going from whichever side you're playing on, bouncing, and the green once again slopes down towards the pin. So you're looking really for the slope to do all of the work here once you've landed on your first bounce. You got a choice here, plus 20% is the general elevation here on hole number 7. Hole 8, a very short par 4, but again similar to hole 1, one that we really need to be eagle on here if we can. And this is one that we're just going to have to go for the eagle in all winds, even headwind. We're just going to have to go for it. The quarterback is great for the ball guide here and the accuracy, but if not, you can play this shot with the extra mile as well. Landing where the black cross is, the end of that first piece of fairway, plus 10% is the adjustment. Now, the idea here is for the second bounce, once again, to be in the rough before the green. If we have tailwind, back up slightly with the spins so that your second bounce is comfortably before the end of the rough. If you have headwind, the second bounce will need to be just after the rough, and this will mean that the headwind will check that ball guide up. You will get a compressed ball guide in real life, so that rather than bouncing after the rough, the headwind will push the second bounce in the rough and you will still roll out. Important here to get a good ball guide. If you do have the quarterback, find a good landing position. There are some bits here where the ball guide will glitch, but hopefully at worst you will have an easy wedge if you do roll a little bit long and to the left of the green. There is a slope that carries you down in that direction, but hopefully you're going to be putting on this one. Same applies in crosswind. Make sure you allow for the second bounce wind effect, because obviously the distance from the first bounce to the second is quite long here, so the wind will have an effect on this hole and you will need to deal with that when we have changing wind directions through the week. So hopefully you can take an eagle here on hole number 8. So we finish with hole number 9, final par 5 as always. Now there was a really nice route on the right hand side here with the tweaks that were made for the Highlands tournament, but as they have now said they're going back to reverting to the old version, the right hand route, as far as I know, due to the trees on the snowy version of the course, is not in place. I'm not going to show that here. So left hand side it is, plus 10% on the drive. And you're going to be bouncing mid distance of your driver back up to where those trees are. That's where you're going to be landing, where that red cross is, rather than further up. This gives you a better bounce point. So your idea here is put a bit of topspin on and then roll as near you can to the rough without obviously endangering going into the rough, because then depending on the wind you may have difficulty reaching the green in 2 with your rough iron. 10% on the drive. So tip of that first white arrow, that's where you want to be for the second shot, and this is 0% with your wood club. If you have headwind here, you may need to be overpowering your sniper or your viper, so it may be good here to have a bag with the Cataclysm or the Big Dog. Both of those will give you extra distance and also extra curl. If you don't have those, the Horizon is actually a pretty good go here because you've got distance, top spin, and you've got lovely ball guide to work with as well. 0% second shot bouncing before the bunker. You will need top spin, right spin, and in certain winds a lot of right curl. And the idea is bounce over the bunker and get the ball to fall down through the fringe and onto the green towards the pin. Very nice slope on this green. The blue line there, some players do take this route. It is risky though, and you have to be precise on your drive, and it's playing a deliberately short drive and then shooting through those trees in the middle of the picture there to the pin more directly. The problem with this though, if you do get crosswind on that second shot, when you adjust you're going to lose your ball guide because the trees are going to be in the way. And then you're going to have to mix around with curl, which makes that approach a little bit more erratic and problematic. So the white line is my favourite approach on hole number 9. So there we go, that's a good overview for holes 1 to 9 in the Winter Major. It's a really nice course here, and as I said, hole 1 and 8 we need to be getting eagle here, so got to try and get some extras here where you can. It will give you a good advantage. Thank you for watching the general walkthrough. Don't forget to please share this video with your clanmates and friends in the game, and I will see you all on the channel very soon. Take care and good luck. Bye for now.